Strange. For some reason... Just give me one moment here. For some fucking reason, the camera does not want to work. Oh, you know what I think it is? That's what it is. Okay. Shit. Damn it. There was a bit of a mix up here. I'm gonna have to see if I can. Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Let me hold on. Hold on. Let me take it from the top. What is going on, everybody? How we doing today? As usual, hope we're doing well. It is a Friday, so we're doing our usual Friday stream, and I hope you had a good week. I was supposed to stream Wednesday. I did not end up streaming because I had some stuff going on, but I am here today, and I appreciate you being here as well. Hope my microphone's going all right. You see, like, the way my microphone is set up, it's not really set up. It's kind of haphazardly thrown on my desk. I'm going to try and rectify this, but my dog was wandering around my desk, and the thing is, he's blind, so he doesn't even know where the hell he's going, what the hell he's doing. He ended up pulling the microphone off my desk last night, and it went up right onto the ground. So I'm hoping my microphone is okay. I tested it with Discord a little bit later in the night last night, and it seems as though it was fine. But you know, you never know. But yeah, it's I feel I'm just disappointed lately. You know, I haven't been able to stream as much. I mean, it's not that I'm being kept from it. It's just that, like, there's days where I get home on, say, like a Wednesday, and I'm like, nah, I don't think I'm streaming today. And because of that, I just kind of, I just kind of don't do it. I'm just returning to regular life, I guess you could say. The last few years were kind of like a fever dream of sorts. A good fever dream, and now I can move on. And that's the thing, is like, with the whole MDE sphere thing, that's the only reason why I started this channel, is because I figured there were eyes on me. I might as well give people something to look at, and it's been a good run for sure. It's definitely been a good run. This isn't like a goodbye. I'm not even saying that I'm planning on stopping. It's just, I've talked about it a little bit in the past. I just am not putting as much into this as I used to. And of course, now's the time that I decide I'm going to get a microphone arm. I decided I would get one of those microphone arm things that puts the mic right in front of your face, because I'm kind of tired of that happening. That's like the second or third time that thing with my dog has happened. So of course, when my viewership dwindled and I'm just kind of looking towards the next thing, that's when I'm like, hey, let's do this little upgrade to the way that I do things. Of course. But yeah. So that's another thing. Something else I'm doing that's a little bit new is Kick exclusive streams, and I do those because I have a little bit more freedom on Kick compared to YouTube. I'm going to probably be doing a Kick exclusive tomorrow. Okay, so if you want to follow me there, it is kick.com/Scott Sullivan MMA. I'll go ahead and I will. It's right there in the chat. All right, for the four of you that are here on YouTube, and the maybe one or two of you that are on Twitch right now. But yeah, I plan on maybe doing a fight stream tomorrow. I want to watch some old fights, like Pride Fighting Championships, K1, just different things like that. Stuff that I think will be fun to watch with people. I have done that in the past, and there are some fights that I do really need to like. I need to watch them with you guys. You know, there's a lot of talk going on with the UFC right now about how the sport is like just not getting better. It's getting worse, if anything. And I have agreed for a long time. I actually think the sport has been getting just a teeny tiny bit better. And I don't know if that's anything that the UFC, excuse me, has done. The fighters seem to just be going for it a little bit more lately. At least when I watch, I don't watch every single UFC card, but really the microscope is over the heavyweight division lately. And the UFC heavyweight division is really weird because you have sort of two classes of heavyweight in MMA. And that is one, the guy who is genuinely a heavyweight. He belongs there. He's like 6'3", 6'4", walks around at 230 pounds, 240 pounds. Like, that kind of guy. And then you have the dude who's like my size. Basically, like, if I was to fight right now, I would have no choice but to be heavyweight. I'd have to fight at heavyweight. And those guys are less heavyweight division and more overweight division. Dudes that, like, they could easily be fighting at 185 pounds, maybe even 170, like I've fought at in the past. And instead of doing that, they're like, nah, I'm just gonna eat tons of shit and I'm not gonna do cardio. I'm just gonna work on power, baby. Just fucking power. That's it. And it's it's put the UFC in a certain predicament, you know. It used to be understood that you had to be in good shape to be a fighter, and then people realized, well, no, I mean, all you need to do is knock somebody out to be a fighter. That's really all you need to do, you know. I mean, look at Roy Nelson, for instance. Excuse me, Roy Nelson was like the first guy who was not in really good shape to do well in MMA. And that kind of paved the way for what we see now, which is, like I said, the dude that doesn't want to go on a diet. Um, and what it comes down, I think it comes down to a couple of different things. For one thing, I think if you are 6'4", 230, 240, 250 pounds, you're more likely to go into football or basketball even or something like that, depending on your body type. I think you're probably more likely to pursue a career in one of those athletic activities as opposed to MMA, because MMA is pretty high risk for low reward. So that's one of the reasons, in my opinion, or at least I assume, why you don't see as many really jacked, like athletic MMA heavyweights anymore. But then in addition to that, like I said, you have these dudes who, like, they you know they don't belong at heavyweight and they're fighting in heavyweight. People were pointing to the Pride Fighting Championships era of the heavyweight world, or the heavyweight division in Pride Fighting Championships. You had killers. You had like Fedor, Mirko Krokop. That was where Alistair Overeem made his MMA debut. He was a kickboxer. And I think the reason for that is because there were a lot of guys who were fighting for K1 kickboxing at the time, which was the tippity top of the kickboxing world, as I understand it anyway. That was for the international scene when it came to kickboxing. You could not get any better than K1. And what happened was a lot of K1 guys ended up transitioning into MMA. And I think that's probably why you have these elite level strikers, basically a bunch of Alex Pereiras and Ilya Taporias, who they're just like killing it in their respective striking art. And then they get this offer from Pride Fighting Championships, and they're like, well, fuck it, I guess I'm going for it, you know. I think that's the situation with, or the the situation with the heavyweight division in mixed martial arts is it's a big topic when it comes down to it. And as a result, there's going to be a bunch of different aspects of it that you need to kind of take into consideration. But I think those are two pretty big aspects that a lot of people may not take into account. I just realized I forgot to shill this in my Discord server. That is the other place that I tend to shill things in my Discord. So you're going to have to excuse me while I take a second. Yep, there we go. I'm going to hit everybody. Yep, there we go. All right. But oh man, I'm tired. I got home from work. I jumped on this call, right? It was like a fucking scam. Basically, there was this scam that was like trying to get me to pay them some money, and I thought it'd be funny to hop on the Zoom call with them. Nothing crazy happened. I don't need to like share the Zoom call that I recorded with them or anything. I just called them out as a scam, and because I knew the jig was up, they just kicked me from the Zoom call is what happened. Which is pretty funny. But um, yeah, instead of like taking a nap and doing this later in the night when I typically would, I decided I'd get home and I'd just say fuck it and I'd do my thing. We're just chilling today. I don't have anything huge planned. A lot of the time when I do have something planned, it's probably going to be for a Kick exclusive, but I'm not 100% sure. Um, I'll get it all figured out though. I'll get it all figured out. Saw a book recently that claimed Shinya Aoki was in talks to come to the UFC and fight BJ Penn. It was called Pride: The Secret Files. I would not be surprised. Jeez. I would not be surprised by that. They were working on deals between Pride and the UFC, and when Dana White sent Chuck Liddell to fight in Pride, Chuck actually didn't do bad. I think it was a Grand Prix he fought in, and he beat. It might have actually been Overeem. I wanna look this up now. I wanna look this up. Chuck Cuck Liddell. Anyway, yeah, there was yes. You see, Pride Grand Prix tournament against Overeem and Jackson. After his defeat to Couture, Liddell entered the Pride 2003 Middleweight Grand Prix tournament as the official UFC representative. Liddell defeated Alistair Overeem in the first round of the tournament, which was a pretty big win back then. Even beating Overeem in like 2007, 2008 was like a pretty big win. In the action-packed bout, Liddell was getting outlanded by the taller, quicker, and more technical striking of Overeem. Later in the round, Liddell landed an overhand punch to the head of Overeem, sending him staggering into the ropes. Liddell then rushed with knees and straight rights and knocked Overeem out at the end of the first round. Yeah, maybe we'll watch that tomorrow. Well, maybe we'll watch some of the Grand Prix from Pride because the Pride Grand Prix were some of the best. And I wish that the UFC would adopt a Grand Prix format. That'd be pretty cool to have dudes fighting like 3-4 times in a night. But fucking they don't want to do that for some reason. It would be a good way, like a good way, but a bad way. It'd be a good way to pay dudes more. You know. It'd be a bad way because like a lot of these dudes are gonna be like, hey man, like why would I want to fight multiple times in a night? But anyway, in the next round, Liddell was eliminated by fan favorite Quentin Rampage Jackson in the first round of his fight with Jackson. Liddell landed shots as he found his distance, but Jackson countered with powerful strikes, rocking Liddell numerous times. In the second round, Jackson continued to outland Liddell with big punches, but could not finish him. Later in the second round, a visibly exhausted Liddell was taken down and received a barrage of punches from the ground. His corner threw in the towel, giving Jackson the upset victory. And you see, this, to my understanding, was the end of the Pride UFC promoting. And it's because, for one thing, Dana was pissed off that his boy Chuck Liddell lost in Pride. He didn't send Chuck Liddell to Pride because he thought it was going to be fair fights necessarily. He sent what he thought was going to be his best representative to send there at that time. And what's it called? Because of that, he was a little bit miffed, right? But then in addition to that, I think Pride was also like, haha, thanks for sending your guy. Anyway, I don't know if we want to send our guys over there. I'm pretty sure that was what the deal was. But yeah, that was like the UFC needs competition is the issue with the MMA world today. The UFC needs competition, and I mean real competition. They have what some people have described as a monopoly on the fight game. And they, again, according to other people, found that monopoly through like shitty deals and and boxing other people out of boxing other people out of the fight world. You know, a lot of people were talking about, like, not even a lot of people. There was this one dude, I forget what his name was, but he was glazing Dana White, and people were calling him out for it, right? And like 10 years ago, I would have been like, dude, Dana White changed the game. You don't gotta like him, but like, you gotta admit, if it wasn't for him, the UFC would not be around today, because MMA wouldn't be around today, because John McCain would have had his way and he would have been banned forever everywhere. But no, like, now I realize, because I did the fucking math. A lot of the stars in the UFC were not actually homegrown UFC talent. You had some dudes like, say, Randy Couture and Chuck Liddell, two dudes that are mentioned here, who are very like they're UFC guys for all intents and purposes. I believe Tito Ortiz was also very much like a UFC guy. I'm curious here. Where the fuck is his oh, here it is. Like, he ended up going to Bellator after a while, but like, yeah, like, he fought in UFC 13, you know, and it appears, yeah, yeah. So he fought as an alternate in UFC 13. So and then he ended up beating blah 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 blah. He ended up beating Guy Metzger later in the night, right? Like, there was one, I guess, in 1998 where he was not fighting in the UFC, and then it's all just UFC all the way until bang 2014. He gets cut, I would assume, and he fights for Bellator, right? Um, like, uh, I just realized you guys couldn't actually see what I was showing you here. Silly me, sorry about that, but um, like, the UFC had some homegrown talent, okay? They did, for sure, but when it comes down to it, um, a lot of the guys that really made waves in the era that you could say is, like, say, the 2010 to 2016 or 17 era, a lot of those guys were not actually homegrown UFC talent. A lot of them were Strikeforce and WEC. That's where Uriah Faber came from. Dominic Cruz, he came from there. Daniel Cormier, Nick Diaz. I don't know if Nate fought for them too, but I would assume he did. Gilbert Melendez, what's his face? Jake Shields, right? Like, that whole, like, Caesar Gracie group from California. A lot of them were more Strike Force guys than UFC guys. And for the better part of a decade, you had guys who, they made their names. They really came up in those other programs, those other promotions. All of a sudden, the UFC buys out contracts or just signs them. Robbie Lawler, another one. He fought. He was a Strike Force guy. He was a lot of fun to watch in Strike Force too. But the UFC brought a lot of these fucking guys over, and they ended up basically trying to be like, "Yep, there are guys," and it's like, well, not really. Not really, a lot of those guys are Scott Coker's guys, Dana talks about, like, these people don't know how to do business. They don't know how to do business. And it's like, I don't know. Like, the fight game, I'm not too familiar with how it works I mean, I do know how the fight game works on the business side, but I don't know if there's, like, secret backroom shit that goes on that I'm not privy to when it comes to the promotion side of the game. Maybe there's some shit that goes on where Scott Coker just doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. I mean, after all, he did take over Bellator, and Bellator sunsetted, right? It got bought out by, I think, PFL, right? And PFL, yeah, they don't really know what they're doing. Maybe Dana's right to some degree, but also it would not surprise me if there was some shady shit that made it impossible, or at the very least, a lot harder for these people to actually do business, um, you would think that somewhere someone would inject money into, say, like, PFL to offer better contracts so that maybe some of that top talent might have a better option, or if not PFL, maybe inject money into some kind of other league. And that doesn't happen for one reason or another, and it makes you wonder why, you know. I just wanted to say that watching the grappling on Fish Tank was so entertaining. Hope that can be something that happens again in the future. Also, great match with Sam. Hey, thank you very much, Zillennial Prepper. I appreciate that. I don't know if you're still here, but I appreciate that. Um, what was it? What was I gonna say? Um, yeah, I like. I don't know what the future with Fish Tank is. I'm a never say never kind of guy. I'm not like sitting here like, are they gonna call? They're gonna call. They're gonna call any second. I'm not like watching the phone waiting for the call, right? I know that it's probably over in terms of like Fish Tank. They're going in a different direction. I hope that direction suits them. Maybe you'll see me back if there is a Blood Games 2 situation, but I think someone told me, they said like for one thing, like, I know Sam's not going to be there, but then also they were just things that were staples from Fish Tank. They said, we're not doing this time. We're not doing that this time. We're not going to have this kind of person on this time. Oh, and we're getting rid of the boxing too. So it's like, well, all right, you know. Like I said, I hope they find something that makes it into not just another Big Brother. I hope it doesn't just turn out to be a Big Brother clone. Boxing was definitely something that they should keep, but if they don't want to, that's their prerogative. Um, and I'm not saying that because it's like I want to come back and I want to do bond. No, like boxing, where what other thing has, like, other than the Ultimate Fighter, what other thing on TV or even the internet features literally being able to fight somebody you're having a beef with, the way that Fish Tank has? I can't think of one thing. I remember Ice Poseidon, he had a couple of boxing matches during his Hunger Games, his Hungry Games, as John was calling it. Um, he had a couple of boxing matches during his Hungry Games thing, and that's no doubt because Quentin Rampage Jackson showed up, and also probably because there was a certain level of like, oh shit, they're literally fighting each other on Fish Tank, huh? Maybe I could do that too. It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me. I'm not saying that's definitely it. But yeah, they did a stream where they painted the season 5 house, so they definitely have a house. Oh, nice. Yeah, that's good. Also, I started BJJ because of Sam. Now almost a purple belt, 4 stripe blue. Good for you, man. That's really good. It's good that you got through the blue belt phase. People call it the blue belt blues. I there's call it the oddest in me. Call it the tism. But there's certain euphemisms and sayings in the fight game that I just can't bring myself to say. One of them's southpaw. I would rather just call someone a lefty. There's some, because everybody and their mother learns the word southpaw and they think they know boxing now. They think they know what boxing is now. Another one is blue belt blues. It's a little too Reddit for me. It's over. It's so over. It's uh oh, uh oh. Anyway, um it's just too Reddit for me. But like, it is definitely true that a lot of people get their blue belt and they're like, cool, well, I mean, most people don't even have a white belt, so I guess, I don't have to keep doing this if I don't want to. It's good that you're like still doing it. Like, just keep on fucking doing it. I kind of like, as I got my black belt a little over 6 or 7 months ago. This is the I like to tell people this is a college degree. I like to tell people it's a college degree, but really it's my black belt certificate. Um, I got it a little over 6 months ago, and there's something about knowing that I'm not gonna get a new stripe until like another year and a half from now. And chances are it's probably going to be longer because I plan on going somewhere else. I'm planning on moving out of New England, and I'm definitely going to stay involved in jujitsu in whatever way that I can. And when I go to a new gym and there's a black belt there that's like, oh, okay, I'll keep an eye on this guy. He's probably going to start the clock from the day I meet him, not about a year or so after I got my black belt, you know, because that's when I plan on moving is later this year. You know, I got my black belt June 1st of last year, 2025. He's probably not going to be like, when'd you get your black belt? 2025, June 1st. Okay, we'll take that into consideration, and then like 2 years after that point, give me a stripe. It's not going to happen. You know, I miss getting stripes. I miss getting stripes. Is what I'm trying to say. You know, the next new belt I'm going to get is 30 years from now if I'm still involved in jujitsu in that way, you know? Um, but yeah, anyway, um, yeah, good, bottom line, good for you, Zillennial Prepper. Good for you, you know, for real. Keep on going. Be proud of yourself for sure, you know? Excuse me. He beat a Skinny Overeem talking about Chuck Liddell. Yeah, but I mean, Skinny Overeem was still a really good Dutch kickboxer. Naga metal spotted. Yeah, yeah. It looks gold in the light, I feel like, but it is a silver. It's a silver. The only reason I kept it is because I fought through an injury. It's not that I'm opposed to keeping silver medals. It's just that with Naga, especially in the expert division, there's a good chance you're going to show up and there's going to be nobody in your division, so they have to combine divisions. I had to fight. I had to roll with a dude who was an age group younger than me. Not that I'm that much different in age from the age group that dude was in. Um, you know, he was 24. I'm 30. I was 31 that day. Actually, I fucking got hurt on my I got hurt at a jujitsu tournament that was on my fucking birthday. Happy birthday to me! But um, yeah, like basically, I showed up and in the first match, I popped my shoulder and in the second match, because it was a 2 out of 3 situation, I could have been like, no, my shoulder, ow. But I was like, no, like I'm a black belt now. And there's people here that look up to me. I have to present a an example. I have to be an example to these people. So I went out there and the guy didn't kill me, but I fought through it as best I could. Didn't do that good of a job in the second one, but the fact that I went out there and I actually fought through that, I was like, okay, I'm like, cool, I'll keep this one. If it was like I show up and I lose and it's just like, well, I guess I get my second place medal because I showed up today, that'd right in the trash. Right in the fucking trash, you know. But anyway, what was I gonna do? Scott about a bang, Jen Ben's heads together like a Steven Seagal movie. I show up to the house dressed like Seagal in like I don't even know what he wears. Does he wear is it like a trench coat? Is it like a cowboy duster? What does Steven Seagal wear in his movies? Like I feel like he's always got a very similar thing going on. There was a scene from a movie where he was in a chair and he was literally a rolling chair like what I'm in right now, and you could see him like moving around in the chair the way that I'm like pushing myself. He's like, I can't get traction, but like he's doing that and he's like got a fucking gun and he's like and then he turns around and he's like do with his fat fucking legs in the chair, you know. There was something about that. I mean, I don't have to something about that, as if I don't know what it is, as if we don't know exactly what is so hilarious about that. But yeah, that'd be great. I show up dressed as Seagal and I start trying Aikido moves on people. I unironically trying Aikido on people. That's what I need to do for sure. Um, I was a white belt for about 3 years. That alone was enough to get me committed. Haha. Yeah, I was a white belt for 4 years. Mogged. Mogged. Um no, I was a white belt for 4 years. I could have been a white belt for like a year and a half, 2 years, truthfully. The reason it took so long is because I was fucking dumb about it. I was pretty stupid. I did not take jujitsu very seriously when I first started, and that's because I was a wrestler. So when people told me I should pull guard, I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about? Fuck that." So I do a lot of skipping training, if I'm just being honest with you. That was one thing as a guy who wanted to get into MMA that was frustrating. Is like I was not in the right environment to do well in mixed martial arts. I'm not like I've said it before. I'm not done fighting. I'm done trying to make a career out of fighting, though. I'll have like another fight, maybe two. Chances are they're going to be pro fights, because I just want to say that I had a pro fight because that was always the goal, was to go pro and make it to the UFC. At the very least, I could go pro. Um, but like when it comes to when it comes to like Brazilian jiu-jitsu, the type of shit that I was learning how to do was not conducive to like good MMA grappling, you know. I love jujitsu like in and of itself for itself. I found that I don't actually hate spider guard, as an example. I found that I don't hate playing the guard and having to sweep and stuff like that. It's not as agonizing as I originally felt that it was. But like when it came to MMA, that was not what I needed at all. I am very happy that I got my black belt. Look, I stopped doing karate at yellow belt. I got my yellow belt and then I stopped doing karate. Um, Fucking that's because I lost interest. Not that like yellow belt is like the third belt that you get in karate, right? It's not like I was a brown belt in karate. Um, if I didn't care, like if I didn't love it, I wouldn't keep doing it. I kind of want to try judo as well, but I feel like if I can find shuai jiao, I would rather do shuai jiao. I did shuai jiao at a tournament, and I got absolutely beat up by this dude who actually practices it. And my jujitsu was not completely unhelpful, but it was not nearly as helpful as I expected and that you would probably expect. Shuai Jiao is a whole different animal. I really enjoyed it, even though I got beat up in it. And I definitely want to learn more. But if I can't find Shuai Jiao, there's more judo around. I wouldn't mind doing judo, especially because it would allow me to start as a white belt in something again and just like be a white belt again and just keep on trying to progress. The journey is not over when you're a black belt. If anything, the real training begins at that point. Um, but I mean, you can say a belt is a piece of cloth and it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things and blah blah blah, but like it's not. I didn't get one of these for my fucking purple belt. I got one for my blue belt. I have it around somewhere, but it was not as nice as this one, you know? This one, like I said, it almost kind of looks like a college degree. The one I got from my blue belt is like fucking, it looks like it was printed out from like it was like on computer paper basically, you know? Um so yeah, like it'd be nice to do that. Um, oh, silly me. Silly me. Give me a second. Moving nice. I'm sure you're psyched for the lower taxes, willing to share the region. I'd rather keep that under my hat right now. If I'm still streaming this time, or maybe not this time next year, but if I'm still streaming when I go to the place that I'm planning on going to, I'll probably maybe I'll mention something about it, but I'm not 100% sure. We'll see. Must be a common thing. We got a guy prepped for Naga who went to a new gym and had somebody flop on him and tear his rotator right before. Yeah. My neck's fucking getting me. Yeah, some people are just shitty. You know, some people are just shitty partners. They just suck, you know. I mean, like I was at the Naga when the issue happened, you know, when basically I'm trying to remember exactly everything. So me and this dude, I forget if we tied up or not. I'm pretty sure we were tied up, but it was not like a really like tight tie up. I ended up hitting a Russian, right? I a Russian tie on him, which is I have his arm across here, and I can remember being patient. I wanted to be patient, right? I didn't want to be rushing, but I also didn't want to like I didn't want to stall. And I considered going for a trip, but I decided against that. And what I was going to do was I was gonna shuck the arm and then drop level for either a single or a double leg, whatever I felt like I could get. And like a split second before I was going to do that, the dude drops a level and he tries to ankle pick me. Now, I saw him do this. It's pretty hard. It's pretty hard to ankle pick someone when they have a Russian on you, right? It's pretty easy to see what the person's going to go for. I end up sprawling out on top of him, but I'm not used to no gi anymore because I'm all gi. I did no gi for 2 weeks, and when I say no gi for 2 weeks, what I mean is I had a combined 3 classes that I did at another gym. So I end up sprawling and I fucking slipped off the dude. I had him, I was like right where I wanted to be. I wanted to end up on top. I did not want this dude to end up on top of me. And then whoop, I slip right off the fucking guy. Like it's fucking the Three Stooges or something. And anyway, he ends up in side control. He transitions to mount, and he ends up grabbing a straight arm lock from the mount. I ended up turning so that he didn't have the straight arm lock anymore. But from there, he went to S mount and he threw a leg over. Now me, I've been in this situation plenty of times. I've like you're not gonna not get armbarred. You're not gonna not know what to do in an armbar. But I don't know what it was. I think maybe because this is kind of a bad shoulder for me. Maybe I was just so tight that my muscles just the sudden they just popped because my elbow was not like I'm thinking back to it. My elbow was not in any danger. There was nothing up with my elbow at all. Like I was, you know, basically during the transition, he didn't even have the armbar fully stretched out. It was like the transition itself just pop, pop 2 times in my shoulder. And it was just like, oh, fuck, you know? I couldn't move my arm at first. I'm sitting there on the mat and I'm like, haha, this is not good. And slowly over the course of like 15 minutes, I think it was, I started to regain a little bit of use of my arm, but not 100%. And that's when the referee came over. Like the EMT was actually icing me. He was like wrapping me up, and the referee came over and was like, "Hey, I assume you're not gonna do the next one." And I was like, "Why? When is it?" And he's like, "It's right now." And I was like, "No, I'll do it." And I ripped the fucking ice off, and I went out there and I did it. You know. But yeah, some people are just shitty. You know, like when it comes to being training partners, and that's something that's frustrating from an ego perspective. I try my best to not be overly egotistical, but like I have an ego for sure, and it's not fun, especially when you're constantly working to shrink your ego, and other people are not concerned about that. You get a lot of that in an MMA environment, in a combat sports environment. You know, there's a lot of people who their egos, their feel good emotions are only as strong as how good they did in the gym that day. You know, it happened like I go to this one gym. Gym's gonna remain nameless, and I think this guy is an all right guy, right? I like this dude. I saw him again. I said, "What's up?" You know, he was happy to see me. I was happy to see him. But like, I noticed we're rolling, right? And we started from standing. And this dude, you could tell he wanted to take me down, but he couldn't find an opening. That is one thing that I'm very good with, is not giving people openings to take me down, whether it's throws, takedowns, takedowns, throws, shooting in for a takedown, arm drags, etc. I am very good at not being taken down. Um, he couldn't find that. So instead of doing something, he just waited for me to shoot in for a takedown and he'd jump the guillotine. So instead of actually engaging with me and trying to get better and trying to give me a good look of what's going to happen in a tournament, because dudes are not actually typically jumping guillotines in tournaments, right? It doesn't happen nearly as often as you would think, even when dudes are shooting in for takedowns. People would rather sprawl, they'd rather down block. Even if they're going to hit a takedown from the front like that, it's usually going to be something like a Darce choke or an anaconda or something like that. You don't see tons of jumped guillotines. So this dude, he's not really being that good of a partner. Instead, what he's focused on is feeling like he won, you know? And for the whole class during as well, he didn't realize I was a black belt because I wasn't wearing my black belt. It was a no-gi class. He's trying to give me like pointers on shit that I've known how to do for years, you know? And I'm showing him ways to do things that he didn't even know he could do, you know? And he's not realizing like, oh, this guy knows what he's doing, you know? Um that was his way of feeling like he was like, the top dog in that interaction. And it's like, I'm just here trying to get some work in so that I can go to a tournament and roll with guys that are actually my level. And I know I'm going to lose because I'm fat as fuck and I haven't been training seriously for a long time. But like at the very least, maybe I'll have a good moment or two, you know? You get a lot of people in the gym that are like that, and every now and again it results in an injury, like what you were referring to, whoever that was, Plunder Stream, you know? It really sucks. Like it sucks doing the right thing, you know? It's not just a jujitsu and combat sports thing. It's a thing in general, you know? It sucks seeing someone drop $20 and being like, I know who that $20 belongs to. I got to give that back to him. Knowing that like that same person may see you drop money and be like, ah, I'm gonna just take that. I'm gonna just keep that, you know? It sucks. It sucks knowing, like I have another story about that I'll tell you about. It sucks knowing that somebody has like a fight coming up, so you're like, okay, I'm not going to try and kill this guy, but when you have a fight coming up, they're like, I'm going to fucking kill this guy. Like, it's so annoying, you know. Another story, I went to this place to spar. I believe I might have had a fight coming up, but there is a chance I did not. I just went there because I wanted to stay in shape and I wanted to be in a room full of killers. Um, and there's this dude, I believe he fought a couple of times for Bellator, but he wasn't anything special. He was also at least 2 or 3 inches taller than me, and he was, I believe, a light heavyweight, and me, I was walking around at about 180. So this guy had a height advantage, a reach advantage, a weight advantage on me, and he's just absolutely letting me fucking have it. And because of all these disadvantages, like, I have nothing I can do but just kind of take it for the first half of the round. We did 5-minute rounds at this place that we were sparring at. But around halfway through the round, I start picking up on what he's got. I start making reads. I start finding my distance and my timing. And one of the things that was really helping me was a teep to the thigh, the front thigh. Not necessarily like a stomping kick, like, say, what John Jones would do, but I was touching the guy's front thigh. And because of that, he actually stopped the round, walks over to me, and he's like, "Hey, man, some of us got fights coming up. You can't be doing stuff like that, dude." He tried to like browbeat me because I was starting to figure him out. And then as soon as like I was being cool about it at the time, I was like, "Oh, all right. Like, yeah, no, that makes sense. I don't want to hurt anyone after all. Like, I wouldn't want to hurt somebody." especially when somebody's got a fight coming up. No way. There's no way I'm going to do that. And then, sure enough, when I stop doing that, my momentum kind of falls a little bit. I found the way to beat this guy. And instead of him just being like, well, I'm kind of letting this kid have it. That's one way that he's mitigating that. You got to be a good partner. I'll let him do it. Or instead of finding a way around it, instead of like finding a way to bait that out of me and then hollow out and then punish me for it, he's like, "Hey man, you can't be doing that." It's like he just wanted to feel like he was winning. That's it, you know? It's like and like a lot of the time dudes like that don't do very well. There's a reason why guys in New England don't tend to do that well. The biggest guys that we have in the UFC right now are a couple of, if I'm being honest, journeymen. A couple of dudes who they're never going to have a belt. It's pretty obvious at this point, but like they are well liked. They're fan favorites, I guess you could say. They're very well respected, but they're never going to have a belt, and that's Calvin Cater and Rob Font. And I'm not saying that those guys are that way and that's why they're never going to have belts. What I'm saying is, like, when I look at the training culture in New England compared to a lot of other places, I do notice that there are some differences that seem to explain why there has not been a UFC champion from New England and why there has not been a real serious New England boxing champion for a long time. It's not all the fighter's fault necessarily. It's not all the fighter's fault, but you know. Uh, my friend Clapper sent you his pet worms. Did you like it? Are you talking about that shit in Discord? I kicked those dudes for that. Um, starts at hey bro, gonna restream Karate Combat. Starts in 30 minutes. Wing C pro fight, pretty cool. I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if Karate Combat will come after me for that. Um, you know. Yeah, LOL, hey dude, let me beat you. I have a fight coming up. Yeah, like dudes really expect you to just kind of allow that to happen. They expect you to just like let them be the hammer and you be the nail. And that's why there's so many dudes that like they look fucking killer in the gym, but when it comes fight time, they don't perform. They're always a step behind. It's because a couple of things. For one thing, they're not used to being the nail. So when they get in and all of a sudden there's actually real resistance by a guy who also wants to be the hammer, some of these guys they falter. But then in addition to that, there's a lot of not there's just a lack of improvement. There's a stagnation that occurs. When you're always doing good, you stagnate. You need to know where you have to improve. And because of that, you have to lose sometimes. And it's better for you to lose in the gym and win in the ring than it is for you to win in the ring and lose in the gym. But unfortunately, yeah, there's a lot of guys out there who they got it backwards. And I've met a lot of those guys. And I mean, if I named them, you wouldn't know them. And there's a reason for that. More people know about me than some of these fucking guys. And I've never had a pro fight, you know? And that's not like that. I'm not saying that's like on the merit of my martial artsness. That's not even what I'm saying. What I mean is like I'm some fucking like balding redhead who was on Fish Tank Live for a couple of seasons, and Fish Tank has not been doing so hot lately, and a lot of people are losing interest, and people didn't even really like me that much. Like, it says something that there's these dudes that they're the top dog in their region because they're fighting dudes that are 3-20 and they're like always killing dudes in the gym, but when they actually face stiff resistance, it doesn't work out. Eh, you know? But um how realistic should the sparring be to get ready for a real fight and also not injure anyone is hard to find a balance. Oh yeah, for sure. Um a lot of people like it's sort of a new age belief that you shouldn't spar hard. And I agree with that, but there is some hard sparring that needs to take place. It needs to be far out from the fight, and it needs to be controlled. You know, you need to be able to you need to keep the guy healthy. You know, but a lot of sparring, if you're going to be doing sparring, should be more focused around not necessarily situationals, but honestly like conditioning. A lot of sparring should be focused around conditioning. You could do like hard sparring once a week. If you let's say you have like a 6 week camp, right? Which for like kickboxing, that's not that bad. Um, you might spar hard once a week up until week like 4, or maybe like week 4.5. Maybe you get like once a week you spar hard. Other than that, you spar very, very light. And a lot of that hard sparring is not even necessarily meant to be like, we're going to toughen you up by beating the shit out of you. A lot of it really should be more focused on tiring the person out. For one thing, you need to get somebody used to not freezing up when they get hit, right? Because when somebody gets hit for the first time, either ever or in a long time, there's a good chance they could freeze up, right? It's fight, flight, or freeze. And because of that, the coward comes out, you know? Everybody's got a coward in them. Everybody does. I do, you do, everybody does. It's whether or not the coward is going to come out that makes the difference. And if you have not been hit hard in a long time, the coward might come out, you know? Excuse me. The other thing is fatigue. Fatigue makes a coward of us all. I feel that that was, I think that might have been Dan Gable who said that. That is very true. If you are not used to having to keep your cool while people are trying to hit you while you're tired, yeah. And that is what hard sparring should be. It should be one, getting you used to the idea that, okay, I got hit, but it's not like I exploded. And then two, it should be, okay, I'm really tired right now. I don't want to be here. I feel like I want to quit, but I'm not going to quit. That's really what it should be. Any sparring outside of that should basically be like glorified Len Chen, which is that's if you see the way they play around in Thailand, they won't even have gear on. They'll just be like lightly touching each other, barely even making impact, including with fists. They won't even like be hitting people with fists. It's just like basically a distance exercise. Oh man. Anyway, Michelle Obama to compete on the UFC White House card and have a Francis Ngannou style physique. Dude, fucking just about. Joe Rogan staring at the bulge like he did with Francis Ngannou. Any thoughts about Alaska? I mean, I've never been to Alaska. I don't like the cold like I used to. I'm not a big fan of the cold like I used to be. I mean, I never really loved the cold in the first place, but like I at least didn't hate snow. But I don't know, maybe it's because I'm an unk now, and all snow means is that I'm gonna have to shovel the driveway and clear my car off. Maybe it's got at least a little something to do with that. But like, I don't know that I could live in Alaska because I just don't want to have to deal with the snow. But like, I'm sure it's beautiful. I mean, I've seen video of it. It's definitely like got to be beautiful. And I don't know how it is up there, but like I'm lazy and I like not doing anything. I like just being able to sit inside all day, which like that's everybody my age now. Like nobody wants to do anything anymore. I thought I was special. I thought I was not like those other girls. I feel like maybe if you're in a place where it snows like a motherfucker, maybe that's an excuse to just not leave the house for like a couple of months. That might be pretty tight. That might be pretty tight. That is one thing I do like about snow is that me, I'll take snow days. If I have an excuse to be like, oh man, I'm snowed in, and the guys that are supposed to plow my shit, they haven't come yet. I can't. Sorry, boss. I'm gonna get in there as soon as I can, but it's not looking good. And then either I show up with like 4 hours of work left, or I just don't show up at all. It's like, oh fuck yeah, fuck yeah, gladly. I will gladly do that. You know. Um, but like other than that, I'm just like, nah, I'm over the cold and the snow. I will say I'm gonna be moving somewhere that's a little bit warmer, in the country. But like I said, I don't wanna say too much about where that's at. It's gonna be Georgia. I bought the house next to the fish tank house. I tracked him down. I tracked him down. Fucking um People have a lot of misconceptions about the state. If you don't love the cold, try visiting in peak summer as long as you don't mind mosquitoes. Ah, yes, mosquitoes. We get a lot of mosquitoes around here in New England too. Um yeah, like that's the thing though, is like I'm sure the summer heat feels hot to you, and I'm not saying it's not hot, but like eh I feel like the summer's probably not as bad as it is down here. I'm curious about that. Un momento, por favor. Summer temperatures, Alaska. Pretty sure I spelled temperatures wrong. Yes, I did. Don't tell anybody. Um, yeah. Summer temperatures in Alaska. Oh, thank you very much, J Spike. J Spike 96. Thank you very much, J Spike 96, for the $5. I appreciate that. Hi, Scott. Hello, J Spike. Hope you're doing well today. Um, anyway, summer temperatures in Alaska vary significantly by region, but generally range from 55 degrees to 80 degrees. So yeah, 80 degrees is, that's getting up there. That's getting up there. I would love 80 degrees, you know? That like it feels less like it's hot. Um Yeah, it says interior Alaska, e.g., Fairbanks. Summer highs average 70 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit with occasional peaks into the 80s. And rare days reaching 90 degrees. I'll take that. I would gladly take that. Um that sounds fantastic to me, honestly, cuz like I don't love extreme heat either. I'm not a big fan of that shit either. But like 70 to 80 degrees, that's like, yes, please. Yes, please. Um, our record-breaking heat was 90 to 100. Yeah, I don't know what Massachusetts record-breaking heat is. Um, uh, Boston broke its record for hottest June day on Tuesday, June 24th, 2025, reaching 101 degrees at Logan Airport, shattering the previous June record of 100 degrees. That's not shattering it. When you imply shattering, that means like, to me that means like, oh, it was 100 degrees, but the new record is 105. Like that's not shattering. Um yeah, so New Bedford is about as south on the South Shore as you could get. There's some more, there's some more, but um 107 degrees, 1975. Oof. Oh wait, oh, it felt like 109 degrees. 108 in Worcester, in fucking Worcester, kid. 110 in Springfield. Interesting. Yeah. So that is that I mean that's not that much hotter than Alaska on paper, but when you're getting up there, even 2 degrees is like, yeah, ooh, you know, um, yeah. plus I'm sure you have it the same, but we have sticky heat. We have some we have um um oh jeez. Uh-oh. There we go. We have humid. We have humidity. I'm sure it's the same in Alaska. Alaska looks like it would be a humid place for sure. Um Commentary on karate combat. It's in 14 minutes. I mean, I gotta be honest, Benjamin. Uh, like I said, I don't know if I'm even allowed to do that. Like if I can confirm that karate combat will not fuck me over for reacting to them, then I'll do it in the future. But I don't think I'm gonna do it tonight, Benjamin Young. I just don't want to take that chance. I might be on my way out and I might not make a ton of money from this, but like you never know. I do like every now and again a video hits like 41,000 views. I make $300 off it. It's like, hey, might as well. This is a hobby for me. I'm doing it in my spare time, and I made $300. It took me 10 minutes to do that video. you know, like shit. Why would I want to give that up? Or risk it being taken away. That is, it's one thing if I give it up because it's like I don't have the time or the energy. It's another thing, risking taking it away. So yeah, it would be good. It would be good. You know. It would be good to do that, and that is something I'll consider in the future. Um, I'm just curious. Yeah, so I googled karate combat DMCA. Plus this is supposed to be a quick stream. It's supposed to be like a 2-hour stream, but I Google karate combat DMCA and it says there's no publicly available information in the provided search context regarding karate combat and DMCA issues. The search result covers details about karate combat's events, fighters, league, blah 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 blah. Blah 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 blah. Okay, so none of that is really stuff that I needed, but I will say there is one that says has Karate Combat faced copyright takedowns on YouTube. I would assume it's asking if Karate Combat has had stuff of its own taken down. I don't think, you know. Um, Based on search results, no evidence that Karate Combat has faced copyright takedowns on YouTube. The results include general information about DMCA takedown procedures, discussions about copywriting martial arts moves. Oh yeah, so that's not. Um, I'm sure if you didn't put it on your stream and just watched it. Oh, yeah. Well, the way you were selling it to me, it sounded like you wanted me to have it like up on the screen. You know, I mean, it starts in what 15 minutes. Maybe we can check a fight out, maybe two. We'll see how it goes. But I don't even watch all the UFC shit. you know. Um. Anyway. Um. Yeah, like I don't even watch every UFC card. I'm not that interested in watching like randos, even if one day some of them might be somebody. So it's like watching Karate Combat. Karate Combat was a great idea. I don't know where it went wrong because it is basically just Muay Thai without the clinch now. You know, it would have been really cool. You know what? I'll show you what's mad cool, right? I'll show you guys what's mad cool real quick. Um, um, Oh yeah, Quo Shuo 2025. This This right here is mad cool. This is a Lei Tai, right? This is a Chinese martial arts championship in America. This is the only one of these that I have seen. I tried to take part in one earlier this year. That's where I got this medal for knife fighting, believe it or not. Um, but this is like kung fu nerds. You're going to see kung fu nerds come together and they're like, hey, like, actually, kung fu is good for fighting, you know? I don't know what these guys do specifically. They might be Sanda, Muay Thai, anything, whatever. But every now and again, you see dudes that are like, ooh, that was a nice spinning elbow. But every now and again, you see dudes who like they have some weird shit going on. They got some mojo going that you don't typically see in mainline combat sports, and I think that's really cool. You can find breakdowns of these fights. Fuck it, I'll keep it going. You can find breakdowns of these fights on Jerry Lou's channel, Fight Commentary Breakdowns. He's a really cool guy. I've actually been aware of him since the days that I was a MGTOW because he's at ooh that was nice. He was a MGTOW YouTuber in addition to a martial arts YouTuber. So I kind of always liked him. Um, yeah, it is pretty well filmed. These guys. This takes place in Maryland, um, and it is probably one of the better officiated and better organized tournaments in America, if not the Western Hemisphere. Truthfully, I really like this. I think this is really cool. You can push dudes off the lei tai. This is so cool. I love the hell out of this. I think it's mad cool. Um, yeah, I'm at this level. I'd say. You mean the level these guys are at as fighters? Yeah, I mean that's not a bad level to be at. Neither of these guys are really that bad. Oh, this looks like street beefs. Well, I mean, again, these are dudes that are not they're not known for excuse me. They're like these I mean some of these guys use stuff like this to build up to trying to fight in actual like combat sports like events and stuff like that. But a lot of these guys are just like, hey, I train, fuck it, I'll do my thing, and they enter into something like this, and I think that's mad cool. But anyway, um, oh yeah, karate combat. Is it on YouTube? Is it on YouTube? I gotta be honest with you. I don't really give that much of a fuck about Wing C, like Benjamin Young. Like I'm not gonna stick around for like his fight in particular. I don't know when he's on specifically, but if he's like one of the first two fights, it's like, all right, I'll go for it then. You know? Oh, really? So yeah, yeah, and this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. Like Walter Walker versus Zion Clark, a grappling bout is what this is. So they're not it's not even an actual striking bout. It is oh it's not even an actual striking bout. It's a grappling bout that they're doing. It's like, all right, okay, you know. But yeah. Anyway. um yes. I streamed a little earlier than I usually do today, that which does not typically help viewership either. I'm just doing everything wrong. And it's like it's whatever. I'm not like I'm doing everything wrong on purpose. Oh, ha, ha, ha. No, it's like literally, I'm just so my mind is so much in other places. You know, part of the reason I streamed so early today is because I'd rather play Arc Raiders later with my friends. So I was like, okay, like if I'm gonna do Arc Raiders, why don't I stream earlier because I have the time, you know? Nah, it's striking. It's talking about an exhibition match with a guy with no arms. Nah, I'm pretty sure it said. I'm pretty sure it said it was a grappling match. You know, because Walter Walker, he's in the UFC. Is he not? He didn't get let go, did he? Oh, excuse me. Jeez. Yeah, he's a current fighter in the UFC. He fought 3 times last year, one of which was, a fight in October where he had a little bit of clout coming out of that. You know, people were paying attention to him. Um, there's no like the UFC has non like the UFC, and they do this on purpose. The UFC does not the way they do their fighters is they consider them to be independent contractors. That's the way that they do them. UFC fighters are not actual employees of the company or anything like that, and that's how they're able to be let go and brought on a whim. Um, One of the clauses in that contract is a non-compete clause where if there's any sort of event that has you participating in any activity that could be construed as the same as or at least similar enough to mixed martial arts, eh, you can't, But dude started doing grappling stuff. Dude started doing grappling. Dude started doing grappling contests, grappling competitions, and now that UFC BJJ is a thing, don't be surprised if you see these UFC MMA fighters not being allowed to say do a karate combat event, even if it's a just a grappling match. Don't be surprised when the UFC starts trying to get a corner on grappling, and because of that, if you're in the UFC, you're not allowed to do anything else. Um, a guy with no legs is grappling a normal guy with normal legs. Yeah. Don't know who that is. Is he that ref? Sorry, just looking around right now. This. Oh, okay. We have a little over 30 seconds before it starts. I guess is what is going on here. I'm just kind of waiting for it to start. So sorry if I'm just like, you know, trying to think of things that have happened. Oh yeah, fucking. Here we go. It's starting. I was gonna say I've been in an argument. I haven't been in an argument with, but I got into an argument with somebody the other day. Oh, that was Ross Levine. Huh. I got into an argument with somebody the other day. It was somebody who followed me for a while, and it was about right wing art or just right wing entertainment, right? Excuse me. Specifically about right wing art. And I was talking about how a lot of right wingers don't really make art, and there's reasons for that. For one thing, if you are a right winger and you make art and you make it known that you are right wing, you will be chased out of whatever it is that you are in the middle of. If you're say like literally like an artist, like a painter, if you're a musician, right? It's a lot easier to do music nowadays, but you're not going to be allowed in a lot of places that the average musician would be allowed into because you've made it known that you're right wing. um, you will be chased out, bottom line, right? The other piece of that is that a lot of right wingers simply do not bother trying to create art. They're not very here's the thing. It's not that we're not artsy necessarily. It's just that our art is a little bit different, the way that we do things, the way that we think of things and stuff like that, you know? Um Yeah, yeah. I think it's fair to say that. I'm not saying it applies 100% across the board. Okay, so we have the main card they're showing right now, which is these people, I guess. You know, Uriah Hall fighting. That's interesting. But anyway, um, yeah, like there's this thing that a lot of people don't understand, right? And it's because they want to like they're stuck in a privileged position where they've never had to live in the real world. Um and what I mean by that is maybe they're in an area where it is nice and it is like not overrun by degeneracy and urban youths and other shit like that. Or maybe they just are kind of a shut in. Maybe they just don't like there's there I don't want to disparage completely and totally, right? Because that kind of takes away from the point that I'm trying to make. I feel like it kind of makes it so that it's like, well, I'm just like shitting on people and I'm out of touch. I don't want it to be a disparagement. That's the last thing I want. Um but what you see from a lot of people who have not actually had experience in the world of politics and the world of trying to get your way of life to be adopted by the mainstream. A lot of people, you see, I'm like watching this, trying to make sense of it while trying to explain this. And I'm also not doing a great job of explaining it in the first place because I'm trying to be very careful of how I explain it. But there's a lot of people out there who, for one reason or another, they are very stuck on one way of being and one way of doing things. And what happens sometimes is that it comes from a lack of experience with certain things that happen and certain things that get done certain ways. One example of this, is somebody who they don't or you see, I'm having a hard time because I'm watching this. I'm gonna fucking click off of that so that I can explain this because this is a good thing to talk about. Um, there's a lot of people out there who don't have experience trying to actually impose their views onto the world and impose their way of life onto the world. That is what you have to do at the end of the day, is try your best to impose it in whatever way that you can. If you have the ability to force people under the boot, then I guess that works. But most people will not be forced under the boot. Okay? The fact of the matter is, in situations where communists or fascists or whoever it is takes over, most people are either okay with the idea or they simply do not care and they welcome it in. That's just the way that it is. You, for the most part, will not get people to adopt a standpoint by browbeating them or pointing a gun at them or going to work. And because of that, if you're going to make right wing art, you can't browbeat somebody into accepting something that most people would consider to be subpar. Tom McDonald, he's talented, yes, but his music is subpar because it is ideology first and nothing else, actually. It's just ideology. That's it, you know? I think I said to this person that I was arguing with, a lot of right wing art, specifically music, it comes from the brain and it never touches the heart. It's got to come from the heart. You know, those commies that sing those commie songs that people really enjoy, they do come from the heart. They really, really do come from the heart, you know? And I'm not saying that right wing music never comes from the heart. What I'm saying is you need to make music that you would listen to at a party. And if you would not listen to hip hop or, say, electronic music, or basically the type of music that gets listened to at parties by the average normie, then you're just never going to get it. You know, you're never going to fucking get it. And there's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to listen to everything that everybody listens to, but you have no business trying to explain how we're going to win the culture war, because your culture is not conducive to doing that. Your culture will not vibe with the average person. The bottom line is the bottom line is you're not going to convince people that it's better to listen to acoustic sea shanty type shit. You know, I love folk music. I listen to a bunch of Irish stuff and folk music from some other places and stuff like that, right? I also like sea shanties. They're really cool. I would never bust them out at a party. Never, under any circumstances, ever. No, not in a million years, because that party is ruined and everybody thinks I ruined it. And they're right, because, well, I didn't read the room and I brought the vibe down. There's a lot of dudes out there who will absolutely positively bring the vibe down and then explain to you, not even just you, but everybody who was vibing prior to him doing what he did, how actually no, you're just a degenerate is what you are, and you're a fucking fuck you guys. You don't know what good music is, and blah blah blah. Hip hop is on top, or it was on top. I guess it is finally starting to slip after, what's it been, 30 to 40 years now. Um, Hip hop has been on top despite church leaders, in even in the black community, church leaders, police officers, teachers, other musicians who thought that rap was a subpar form of art, which it is. Despite all of these people wagging their fingers, going, "That isn't art. They're not even singing. What are they singing? What are they rapping about? Is what you called it? They're talking about shooting people. No, that's not good, mister. You shouldn't be listening to this. That's bad for you." Despite all of that, hip hop still dominated for decades. There was nothing you could, it was inescapable. And because of that, a lot of people are fucking wiggers now. Have you seen the wiggers used to be a joke. You used to have like one or two of them at your high school. Now kids are teasing their hair because they want it to look like black hair. That is how prolific hip hop was. You can't escape hip hop, not right now. Maybe someday. But until then, I'm sorry, you got to make right-wing hip hop. You got to make right-wing electronic music. You got to make right-wing whatever, right-wing dance hall, you know. You have to make it. There's nothing you can do about that. If you can make your fucking you can make your wannabe Woody Guthrie, but totally national socialist. You can make that kind of fucking music all you want. You're gonna get 100 views on YouTube. You're gonna get a fucking 100 views on YouTube is what you're gonna get. You know, I'm still not doing the best job at explaining this, but I know at the very least you guys should understand what I'm saying here. So we do have a fight coming up. Maybe after I can explain a little bit better. You know. Um. So there's a guy. I'm looking for what the undercard is, but doesn't seem like they have. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna check the karate combat. I'm gonna check the karate combat. Karate style taekwondo. Ah, interesting. Huh. Anyway, I gotta find the karate combat shit on social media. On social media. There we go. Yes, here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Nah, winged C is like. Oh wait, no, actually, yeah, winged C is like fight number 4. You know, maybe closer. I'm not gonna watch all these fights right now, but apparently it's fucking these guys right here. You know, we got William Findlay versus Elijah Barnes. And you can see William Findlay, you know, he's kind of a Taekwondo stylist, and he is like kind of a pure Taekwondo stylist. You know, he's got those hands down. Oh, hey, there's a head kick and a few hammer fists, and the fight is over. Elijah Barnes is out cold. Yo, you just missed a flash knockout. No, I didn't. I just saw it. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. You know, like it would be cool to see more of an outlet for that kind of thing. Like dudes that like they want to test their taekwondo and they want to see if they can like make it work a little bit better, you know? That would be like that is what karate and kung fu need. You know, they both need those. And I mean that was like when we think of taekwondo, that is actually pretty close to. Hold on a fucking second. Hold on a fucking second here. Oh yeah? Oh yeah? Are you sure? Are you sure? Like I don't know. Like that dude that dude looks out, but the kick didn't land. Hold on. There's another angle. Bang. Ah, okay. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. So we can see what it is here. We can see what it is here. Basically this dude he turned away from it and went bang. Like so yeah, no, that was legit. From that first angle, it appeared as though that kick was blocked and this dude honestly kind of just flopped. But no, like that was a shot that wrapped around behind the ear, you know. He basically turned the back of his head. So, you know, taking a kick to the face must be the worst feeling. I don't think that dude felt much of anything. I think he was awake and then he was asleep. And if he's awake again, he probably was like, huh? You know? Yeah. Yeah, they got the guy back up. He's fine. I mean, we can watch the next one, you know, but I wanna show you guys something too. I wanna load something up as well. All right. So yeah, hopefully the next fight comes up soon, you know. But I guess we'll see. I like I wanna explain the art. I wanna explain the art thing because if I can make a video out of it, I will. If I can like clip it and use it for a regular video, I will. Even though it's gonna get no views because nobody listens to me. You know, that's the unfortunate reality. You know, but for my own health, um, like I want to explain that, and I have a point to make regarding a song that I am familiar with, you know, and familiar with in a way that a lot of people are not familiar with, actually. Sorry, I'm checking Instagram. All right, well, like how when booze stays in your body once you're good, it hits the head. Dunzo. Yeah, yeah, for sure. You know, like this like I've heard different explanations, you know, and I don't know if one of them is correct and one of them's not, or if both of them are correct. But like, there's a few different ways that a knockout will occur, or there's a couple of different ways that have been explained to me that a knockout will occur. One is that there's nerves in certain areas of your head, right? Not like pressure points necessarily, but like there are like nerves. And if you hit someone in a certain place, it'll kind of like deactivate, or maybe it activates the nerves in some way. I don't know. But that whoosh, shuts you off. One of the other ways was it had to do with like blood flow. Like the reason why, like, a lot of people when they think of head kicks in Muay Thai, what they're really referring to is a neck kick. They would rather aim for the neck. And the theory in their heads is that if you kick someone in the neck, what it does is it interrupts the blood flow for like a half a second, and that is enough to kind of shut somebody off. Which, again, like, these are just ways that have been explained to me. I don't know which ones are right, which ones are wrong. That one has always sounded a little less correct to me, but I mean, hey, whatever. Um, and then the other one is that when you get hit, your head, what does that, or what does that? And if you get hit hard enough the right way, you will end up you will collide. Your brain will collide with the inside of the skull, which is what a concussion is, which is why knockouts a lot of the time also are paired with concussions. Oh, excuse me. Um, you like there's there's a bunch of different explanations, you know, a bunch of different explanations, a bunch of different ways to knock somebody out, like different areas you can go. You can go with the jaw, you can, you know, hit somebody in the temple. It's harder to knock somebody out with a shot to the temple. But then also behind the ear. And that's where that dude got kicked. So we have a dude named Sitik Mudwev. Another mountain Russian, I'm sure. Looks like it. Looks like it. Ball hits few. That's vomit mode. Ugh. Yeah. Usually the chin or behind the ear. Yeah, you know. That's why like you like that's why in boxing they, you know, like there's a lot of like here, you know. That's why Mike Tyson used to stand like that, is because he's literally trying to protect uh, one of the most vulnerable areas. You know, if you were going to get hit, you would want to get hit here. That's why I'm going bald, is because this is where I get hit a lot. You know, that's what it is. That's what it is. But um in Muay Thai, because they have elbows instead of down here, what you see a lot more of, you know, from these dudes that are like traditional Thai and they're really technical with it here. We call it looking through the binoculars, you know. And that's to protect against not just punches and elbows, but also kicks too, you know. Because the thing is, if somebody throws a punch at you, right? I don't I want to come down on top of it if I'm gonna parry it, right? And I kind of want to be like a windshield wiper or like almost like I'm high-fiving, right? I don't want to do that, and I definitely don't want to have to try to parry upwards or go from here to there so that I can go back down there, right? So that's why it's important to keep your hands up, you know? Um, is not just like, oh, well, he'll hit the gloves instead. Not always, like I can only protect so much of my face just with passive defense with my hands up, right? You're going to find a way through somehow, some way, unless I start moving around and shit. But when it comes to parrying, I want to make sure that I'm coming down. I don't want to go up. And the same thing goes with head kicks, right? This dude, fucking Jeremy Henry, is he's he's doing his thing, He's doing his thing. I would like one of those karate combat gis. I do dig the hell out of the karate combat gis, I have got to say. But when it comes to like when it comes to kicks, right? It is especially important because if I'm going to block a head kick, what I want to do is I want to come across here so that my whole head is protected, and then I want to be here too, right? So like that. I want to create a wall basically, right? Some dudes they'll do that, like, that like whatever. The bottom line is I need to make sure that I'm not just here and there because what it'll wrap around. And if I'm down here or even down here, by the time I see that head kick coming, or let's say it's from this side, I have to go all the way here, right? I have to go all the way here instead of just being able to there. The pants, yes. Those pants are insane. Oh, he took them off. He took them off. That's kind of dumb. Ice hockey concussions, I believe, are second to fighting. Ice is unforgiving. Oh yeah, for sure. I think you're more likely to get a concussion in I think you're more likely to get a concussion in football than you are in combat sports. I've met so many guys in boxing who have concussions. And not just like they had one concussion, but they had multiple concussions. Um, I have not met that many dudes who have had concussions in combat sports. And the way that we are about head trauma nowadays, it's not just like yeah, I was dizzy after fighting. I was dizzy after I was dizzy after training one day, but it's whatever. Like we don't do that anymore. If you have something like that going on, everyone's like, get to a doctor, get to a doctor. Minute clinic, hospital, somebody. You got to get there. You got to get to them, dude. Do it. I got hit by a truck on the highway twice in 6 months and got concussions. Oof. Sorry to hear that, Black Floyd X. Jeez. Fuck that. It's very hard to keep your head up chasing a puck or handling it. Only the best can. Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Gonna run into someone eventually. So yeah, this fight's been going on for a little while now. We got a minute 43 left in the first round, and not a whole lot has happened. They are high energy though. I don't know what. This is lightweight, so I think these guys are. Fighting at 155. Then I'm pretty sure they synced their weight classes up to what the UFC was at. Concussions are no joke. Got knocked out in a fight once and took forever to get normalish. Oh yeah, it like it's I've never had a concussion, I'm gonna I've been knocked out, but it was a flash knockout. It was not like a KO. It was a flash knockout. um Oh shit, we got a single leg attempt from the Russian Sitik Muduev. That's the first like major thing from the fight. And of course, like a mountain Russian goes to karate combat and he takes a motherfucker down because of course. And karate combat has limited ground fighting. There's no submissions, and after a certain point, they stand them back up regardless of what's going on. Ooh, dual kicks from Jeremy Henry, the other dude fighting. And there is a double unders from Muduev, referee breaking them. Yeah, like I've never had a concussion so far. And I hope to keep it that way. But like I could only imagine how awful it is because like you're awake and you're like, yeah, no, like it's, like I can move fine, I can do basically everything fine, but I'm just not all right. I'm just like I'm just kind of fucked up. Huh. Jeez. You know? It's like I could only imagine how like annoying that is. What's going on, Dismodu, as well as Neon and CPT? Hope you all are doing well tonight. Just noticed you guys are actually in here. I've been talking to some of you for a second. Yeah, I kind of talked through this first round here, but yeah, the big action was I already forget his name, the black dude. He came forward throwing some wild hooks on the Mountain Russian, and when the Mountain Russian was in a little bit of trouble, he dropped for a single leg, which of course. WWE guys get some serious concussions. Oh yeah, I'm sure they do. Getting hit in the head with chairs. Forget about it. But anyway, we have round two coming up. Excuse me, jeez. Nothing really happening right now. There was a cross followed by a jab from Muduev. Ooh, a flying knee from Jeremy Henry, and then a high kick that does not land, and Henry is down, but he stands back up. I do like the action so far. High energy. These dudes are swinging for the fence. There is a spinning wheel kick from Jeremy Henry. Does not even come close to landing. Even esports guys get injuries. Funny enough, I'm sure they do. Carpal tunnel. Fucking like people think, dude, video games, fucking dude, I'd love to play video games for a living. You probably wouldn't. You play video games like me, I play video games for an hour or two. Sometimes if it's like a Friday or a Saturday and it's like, all right, let's lock in 3 or 4 hours. I could not do that every single day. As much as I tell myself I would love to, there is no way that I could. It would not happen. These dudes, they play video games for 8 to 12 hours a day and it's not fun. It's not like la di da di da, this is fun, tee hee. It's like learning the new strat, the new meta. Um Practicing it until you can't get it wrong. Absolutely positively just like fucking like just grinding, 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 you know? That cannot be that fun, especially if it's like a team environment like that you know? Even even athletes would not train for 12 hours a day. Even if you broke it into 2 6-hour, this is there's quite a bit of action here right now. Seems like Muduev, every time he is a little bit nervous, he shoots in or tries to initiate some kind of grappling. I do think that is a good sign for Jeremy Henry. I do think he might be winning this round right now. He's not really landing anything too crazy necessarily, but he's just doing enough. That was a nice jab overhand from Jeremy Henry. But yeah, like it like even athletes like pro the upper echelon, the tip top pro athletes, they train 4 to 6 hours a day, and they'll divide it up into two or 3 hour sessions, a morning session and an afternoon session, you know? And in between there is recovery, there's rest, there's doing whatever you have to do, for the rest of your day, things like that. These esports dudes are absolutely no lifing the fuck out of every game that they're playing, you know. Um I would never play rugby in USA. We don't have that kind of medical insurance. Yeah. Yeah. Rugby seems like it might be fun, but you know, I'm good on that, you know. Um Rugby is like it's kind of like a college hipster sort of like sport. I feel like sometimes it's like the athletic hipster who's like you have some people like they go to college and they play Quidditch. You know that I don't think that's a big thing anymore. But Quidditch used to be a college a sport that you would see at college. You would have Quidditch club, you know, which is fucking ridiculous. Ooh, that high kick did land. It was a front kick right up the middle, and it snapped a dude's head back. That is crazy. Um, I play some TF2 rounds with a Sig when I take breaks from work. Yeah, you know, like that's fun. You know, I miss smoking cigs sometimes. I wish I could. I'm gonna smoke another cigarette someday, but it's got to be a time where I feel I can get away with it a little bit. You know. Um, but yeah. Ooh, and Mudoev is down. I think he might have gotten. I don't know if he fell over or if he got hit and he went down. You know, but Mudoev is on his belly, and the referee stands them up. I gotta say, I'm not a big fan of that because the thing is, Mudoev was in danger of being finished. I think if the referee is, ooh, flying knee, but Mudoev actually takes him down off of that. I do. Oh, there's a nice uppercut, and I think they are call. Are they gonna? Are they? What the fuck is going on here? The referee sees Mudoev take an uppercut and fall over, and he calls a stop to the action, just to tell Mudoev, "Hey, like work harder," is what it appeared to be. Yep, and that is what's going on. The referee keeps stopping the action to be like, "Hey, Mudoev, you got to stand up, buddy. You can't keep trying to shoot for takedowns." And it's like, "No. Let him shoot for takedowns because he is so very clearly almost done." Like this is like it kind of reminds me of in boxing what happens is sometimes the referees when there's no like 3 knockdown rule in a round or something like that, sometimes the referees they'll see a fighter stand up and they assume he must be good, and it's like nah, the dude's still out on his feet. And that's how a lot of the deaths in combat sports happen is boxing, kickboxing, especially boxing. You know, these dudes are getting up basically just because that's how they've been trained, and they almost are like wishing for the referee to stop it, you know. But they're not, and this referee is literally not stopping it. This dude is having a hard time even getting up, and it's not because he's like punch drunk or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying. He's clearly just very tired. He's exhausted, you know. But it's like yo, like ref, let yeah, the ref just waved it off. Yeah, so that's going to be a TKO victory for the black dude who has the word combo tattooed on his back. Good for him. Good for him. What's going on, Cherry? How you doing? I think he threw more attacks and it paid off. Oh yeah, the output, you know, the output on I again like I forget what his name is, but the output on that guy was pretty good. You know, it was pretty good. Excuse me. Menthol cigarettes are the worst. You get addicted to the nicotine and menthol. Yeah, I never could get into menthol. You know, I like I was stupid. I wanted to be like a connoisseur almost. Like I never wanted to be addicted to cigarettes, but also I was like, you know, it'd be cool if I tried every kind of cigarette that I could. And my white whale is Lucky Strike. My white whale is Lucky Strike cigarettes. I've never tried a Lucky Strike. If I could try one more cigarette in my life, it would be a Lucky Strike. Just to say that I had one, you know? Cuz that's like or for a long time before Marlboro took it all over. That was like the American cigarette. That was like the American cigarette, But that was good for that guy. Anyway, Neon, are you still here? I'm curious. I don't know if you're still here right now. But anyway, so I got into an argument with somebody the other day on Twitter talking about right wing art and I guess you could say entertainment. We were mainly talking about art, but I feel that entertainment is wrapped up in this because a lot of entertainment is art or it is artful at the very least. And this guy's argument was essentially that what we need to do is convince people to step away from a bunch of degenerate sort of entertainment like hip hop, for instance, which I fully agree. Hip hop is extremely degenerate. And it is not good. I listen to it every now and again, but it's like McDonald's, right? When I go to McDonald's, I don't want a gourmet meal. If I wanted that, I'd go to a place that serves gourmet food. Sometimes I just want a McDonald's burger because I just want one. I just feel like it, right? Um, but my argument was that of you need to meet the people where they're at. And instead of trying to convince them that actually, no, uh, this music is bad and you shouldn't listen to it, you should listen to this music instead, you need to make as close to that music as you possibly can so that these people will see it as an alternative. So, yes, that means you need to make right wing hip hop, you know? You need to be willing to do that kind of thing. And it's tough. It's hard, right? Especially because a lot of the time when you are thinking of trying to make something ideological, well, where does ideology come from? It comes from the head, you know? You need to make something that doesn't come from the head, but something that comes from the heart. And that's where a lot of right wingers can sometimes they can get they can get lost, and that's where you get dudes like Tom McDonald or those guys that they did that rep for the red white and blue song, right? Those dudes, the MAGA wiggers, basically. um you have to meet people where they are in a way that they're not going to think is like a youth pastor. You can't be like, hey kids, do you like skateboarding? You know who also likes skateboarding? Jesus. He's the most radical border I know. Like you can't be that way about it. And unfortunately, this guy, I don't want to disparage him too much, but I feel that he was coming from a place of not really having experience. I don't think he has experienced what happens when you try to finger wag at people and be like, that's not good stuff. Hip hop came around in, I believe it was the late 70s, and it was kind of on the rise since the late 70s. You had like Sugar Hill Gang was the first mainstream example of like, say, hip hop or rap, right? Um, and it really hit a crescendo in the late 80s into the early 90s. And at that point it exploded, and not too long after that it became the most dominant musical force in our society, to the point where now white kids are teasing their hair to make it look like black hair, and they don't even realize that, like, that's what they're doing. They don't realize they're wiggering themselves out, that's a very common thing that we see nowadays. The Zoomer broccoli haircut stereotype didn't come from nothing. Um, when it comes down to it, before we were even born, there were so many people who were finger wagging about not even just hip hop, but about a bunch of other things: rock and roll, Elvis, jazz, ragtime, etc., etc. There's always been somebody who has been talking about how the dominant cultural force is not good, right? And in the case of hip hop, and I'm sure it's the same with all these other ones, you have examples of, say, pastors in the black community, right? It wasn't even just a racial thing either. It was like pastors in the black community, community leaders in the black community were like, yo, we can't have this. This is awful. This is terrible. It's going to degrade our society. It's going to degrade our culture and our group of people, right? Then you also had people who were teachers, who were politicians, police officers, your parents, even other musicians, people who are like, hey, that's not real music. They're not even singing. What? They're just talking to a beat. That's all they're doing. Rap still became the most dominant cultural force in our society for 20 to 30 years. None of that ever stopped it. So you can finger wag and you can get nowhere, or you can try your best to make what is going to be passable right wing rap, passable right wing art that, yes, there is going to be a tinge of degeneracy to it, or maybe there will appear to be a tinge of degeneracy to it. But, I mean, that's the game you have to play. And this is why this is why I was wondering if you were here, Neon. You did say you don't get to choose what drives culture and the interest of a 14-year-old. If you want to reach them, find where that is. Don't get trapped in your generational boomer rules. Exactly. You put it better than I'm even putting it right now. You know. But this is why, right? I want to show you guys something. I hope I don't get fucking copyright claimed for this. I don't think he would copyright claim the guy who made this, but we'll see.
When there's nothing left but the fire in my chest and the air that fills my lungs, I'll hold my tears and trade my ears for a glimpse at kingdom come. On the other side of misery, there's a world we long to see. The strife we share will take us there to relief and sovereignty. Oh, by God, we'll have our home again. By God, we'll have our home. By blood or sweat, we'll get there yet. By God, we'll have our home.
So this is a song called "We'll Have Our Home Again." A lot of people are aware of it because it became a right-wing anthem. Do you know why there's so much of an echo in this song? It's because this song was recorded. This song was recorded in a barn house in Pennsylvania. How do I know this? Because I met the guys who made this song. I sang this song with the lead in this song in the woods in New Hampshire back in the activist days, right? Beautiful voice, like really good singer, you know? And that was a fun time that we had with those guys. This was a secret society that created this. I know it's credited to a guy or a band or whatever, Pine Tree Riots, but when this song was created, they were going by a different name, right? And we had made inroads with these guys, and we were kind of testing out, like, just like, hey, can we stand each other, and do we align enough ideologically that maybe we can work together in the future? Now, when I was talking, not just there was multiple of us there from my group of dudes that were, doing our thing back in the day. When we were talking to the leader of this group, not the guy who led the song, the lead singer of this song, but the leader of the group, he said, yeah, that song is crazy good. And I can remember when the guy who wrote it came to me, I couldn't have asked this guy to write this because it wouldn't have come from a good place. This came from the heart. And that's exactly what I said. You can't write from the mind, you have to write from the heart. And when you're sitting here thinking all about, like, oh, well, I'm going to write a folk song with my fucking banjo that's going to be so beautiful it's going to make people stop listening to rap. You're thinking too hard. You're thinking too much, and things are coming too much from what's between your ears and not what's inside your chest, And sure enough, this became a right-wing anthem that so many people, even the fucking Proud Boys of all people, were singing this song. And we knew about this song before any of them did, me and my guys, because we met
in our own towns
these dudes, this is not going to be something that's going to become mainstream. You're never going to hear this on the radio, right? I know it sounds like, well, I mean, you're saying that like a song that's not hip hop or like some other kind of music that would be listened to at a club is really good. This is really good. I love the hell out of this song to this day, you know? And that's one of the, not the biggest highlight, but it is one of the highlights of my activist career is getting to meet the guys who made this and sing it with them, you know? Um, but as great as this song is, you're never gonna see it in anywhere that matters beyond just like a fight song for the right wing, much in the way that Bella Ciao is for, say, the Antifa types, you know, or like whatever kind of like 1970s, 1980s Nazi punks fuck off type of Dead Kennedys shit. You know, you're never gonna find that. You're just not gonna find it. You know, I'm not saying don't make this kind of art. That's not what I mean at all. What I mean is if your art is going to appeal to people who are not already a part of your thing, excuse me, if it's going to appeal to people who are not a part of your thing already, you have to make something that is going to reach out, grab them, and pull them in. This, as cool as it is, it's not something that's going to reach out and grab the broccoli hair zoomer and pull him in. It's just not going to happen, you know? Like, as somebody who was in the game in the way that I was and for as long as I was, the average shelf life for an activist is like about a year. I was in the game for like 3 or 4 years, you know. Um, to see people on like Twitter who you can tell they've never really been in it, and they're trying to tell you about like what works and what doesn't. It's like it's fucking frustrating, you know. And like, no hate to that guy, we did kind of give each other some shit, but he was asking for the shit that I gave him. He was being a kind of a cocksucker, for being honest here. But it's just like, that's my argument, is you can't get the kids to meet you where they don't want to be, because if you could, well, then churches would be full, or um like youth stuff would be full, libraries would be full of people who aren't just homeless or like teenagers that want to cause trouble, you know. Coming up 25 years old, Scotty. Yeah. uh yeah, I can't believe it's been so fucking long, you know. I remember we meet these guys in New Hampshire, in the woods. There was only 4 or 5 of us. There was like 10 or 15 of them, so they came a lot heavier than we did. It wasn't like a tense meeting necessarily, but nobody knew if we could trust each other. So anytime someone would make a false move, everybody be right to their hip, because quite a few of us had guns. I didn't have one, but the dudes that lived in New Hampshire that were from my thing, you know, they were allowed to own guns, so they brought theirs too, just in case. You know, I think that was actually the moment where we kind of all like was we sang that song, and then we had like, it was such a good time singing that song. We were like, damn, that's sick. Hell yeah. You know, like, all right, we're cool, you know? Um, what was I gonna say? And it was like very early 2020, to the point where like it's winter time, and like somebody coughs and we all were like, oh, he's got the Wu flu. He's got the fucking Kung flu, dude. Like, back before people were like, it's actually SARS COVID-19. Don't call it that. That's Asian hate. Stop Asian hate. Like, before all that shit started, before the normies even knew about the Kung flu, you know, before the normies even knew about COVID. Like, we all knew, because we were a bunch of fucking internet autists and racists. I was just an autist. I'm not a racist, of course. But what's it called? It's just funny to think back to that, you know. Um, but yeah, get them in the door with whatever you need to, then build their worldview. Exactly. Exactly. You know, that's kind of what happened with me. I didn't need to listen to music for it or anything like that. You know, that's not necessarily what I needed to do. But like when I met the guys that I met, they didn't finger wag at me. They let me be the degenerate idiot that I was back then. They let me be who I was. Like, don't get me wrong, if I'd say something like ridiculous, they'd challenge it, but it wouldn't be like, "You really fucking believe that, dude? What are you, fucking stupid?" Dude, I'm gonna tag Sam Hyde and I'm gonna tell him that I'm gonna rat you out to Sam, buddy. That's literally what that is. Is like he tagged Sam in one of the fucking tweets, and he's like, "I blame you for this," and it's like, what do you expect? You think Sam's gonna answer and be like, "Yeah, that's why I don't talk to him anymore." You fucking idiot. You know, Sam did not see that, and if he did, he definitely was like, "Wow, this guy with a Pepe the Frog picture as a profile picture, as in the year 2026, really thinks Scott is the idiot right now." Man, some of these guys really are hopeless. You know, that would have been his reaction, assuming he didn't just see that and go, "Oh, let's get that away." I don't, I don't, I don't, I don't want to hear any of that shit. You know. Wing C is on right now. Okay, we'll tune in. We'll tune in for some Wing C. Bada bing, bada boom. All right, but it just sounds like a meetup for gay guys. To be honest, hey, it's called activism, okay? And we always used condoms, so it's fine. Um, like how Rush used the mountains to echo their one song. Yeah, kinda. You know, it's but like for them, it was that they probably just didn't have access to like a studio or anything like that. They probably just didn't have access to that. And honestly, it works out so much better that that is like the official, that there is no like edited like studio version. It makes it so much better, you know. It's from the heart, you know. It's really from the heart. It's like my favorite renditions of two songs. One of them is Boston Rose by the Wolf Tones. And there's a song called Celtic Symphony by Charlie and the Boys. It's not explicitly by Charlie and the Boys, but this rendition of it was done live by Charlie and the Boys. Those two songs, when you listen to them live, they are so much better than the studio versions written by anybody or performed by anybody, excuse me. They're so fucking great. Um, and I would recommend listening to both of those as well. Like it's Michel Borges, Michel Borges. Anyway, um, I would absolutely positively recommend that 100%. You know, listen to the live versions of both of those. They blow the studio versions away from it. And if there was a studio version and then they tried to do a live version, I feel like maybe it would not have been caught as easily. Maybe it would not have caught on as easily as it did, you know? Because by the end of the year, I'm talking like September, October, November, December, like well into the last half of the year, that song was like hugely popular, you know, and that song outlived the organization. I guess there may have been a little bit of trouble among the ranks of that organization. I think there may have been a little bit of corruption. I could be wrong, but the organization has since gone defunct. Hence why it's Pine Tree Riots, apparently, you know. Yes, the well known and loved karate style of Muay Thai. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Anyway, thoughts on Clavicular being frame mogged? Dude, he'll never recover. He'll never come back from that. The Wolf Tones did Celtic Symphony too. Oh yeah, like A lot, yeah. And I think the Charlie and the Boys version is better. You know, even if the Wolf Tones did a live version, I'm pretty sure I can listen to it. We'll listen to it after. Um, because I do believe this version will not be copyright claimed if I do it. I believe this is it. Oh, dude, what the fuck? I feel like Winged Sea is taking a little while to get out. No, oh, shit, no. I am way far behind, that's why. Okay. All right, here we go. Here we go. Okay, okay. All right. I was like, yo, fucking, where is this dude? Have you ever gotten an erection while wrestling around? Be honest. Nah. Nah. I've oh, and running off the wall, both of them, they kind of collide and nothing really lands. I'll answer that question after this. There's a spinning mule kick from Jaden Torres. Ooh, a flying knee by Jaden Torres. So this is Winged Sea versus Jaden Torres at bantamweight. Ooh, there's an attempt at a spinning back kick from Torres and a flying knee from Winged Sea. Ooh, right into a jumping kick from Torres. Ooh, that's a nice cross off the exit from Wing C. Wing C trying his best to go for a flying knee. I've noticed there's an abundance of flying knees from range. There's an abundance of flying knees from range here. Ah, I don't know what it is. Maybe something about karate combat makes people just, do it. And there is a takedown, a very strange takedown from Wing C. And he is absolutely letting this dude have it. And that is the end of the fight already. That was a very strange takedown from Wing C. I think he tripped him, you know? I think he tripped him is what happened. And we have him doing his fucking he did a little oh, he's still dancing. Still dancing like a fool. Have you ever gotten an erection while wrestling around? Be honest. Nah. I mean, I've done jujitsu with some pretty good looking women. I definitely have. But like, it's just it's work. It's business. You know. That's a tremendous looking medal. What's it from? This one? This is from Naga. I feel like I explain this like at least once a month. This is a second place medal. I decided I'd keep it because I rolled through an injury. I competed through an injury. And I'm proud of that. Oh, here's the takedown. The takedown was strange. I wanna see this takedown here. Um, yeah, he literally just like, yeah. So he literally just kind of went, "Oh, you're down on the ground now." That's all right. I mean, hey, if it works, it works, and that is that. But anyway, again, like this rendition of Celtic Symphony is the best. We're not gonna listen to the whole thing. Wayne C looks like a creative character from a PS2 game. He really does. Have you ever seen anyone pop a stiffy while rolling with the girl? No, actually, surprisingly. Oh, it's from. Hold on. good. Like if you listen to any version of this, it is subpar to this in my opinion. And it's because the other versions, they lack the energy that was in the room on the day that this was recorded, you know? Something like that other song by Pine Tree Riots, We'll Have Our Home Again. Like if they waited an hour, it may have affected how things go, you know? Sometimes things just click and the magic happens, and that's what happened with Pine Tree Riots. That's what happened with Charlie and the Boys on this night where they did Celtic Symphony and it happened to be recorded. And that is what happened with Boston Rose by the Wolf Tones. You know, I would recommend listening to the live versions of all of those, and you can even compare them to the studio versions. But I have a feeling you're gonna really enjoy the live versions. You know, oh, man. Anyway, hold on. Of course he has. As men, we can get boners unconsciously. So if a girl KOs a dude in BJJ, he's gonna get wood. Ask any nurse. It happens a lot. What if a girl chokes me unconscious? I've actually never been choked unconscious. I either escape or I tap. You know. So yeah. I don't know. I've never had a knockout boner before. But I do think it's about time I get out of here. I streamed a little bit earlier today because because I wanted to have the night free to do some other stuff. Thank you everybody who tuned in. I appreciate you, as you know. Tomorrow, if and when I do stream, it's probably going to be a Kick exclusive stream, and we're gonna be watching old fights from Pride, maybe some Strike Force. Um, excuse me, maybe a K1 fight or two. I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys tuning in. All right. I feel like I said it already, but I'll say it one more time. And until next time, peace out.